It wasn't long ago that we as Americans slowed down at noon on Good Friday. We never have been a 100% Christian society, but the religious beliefs of the Founding Fathers carried us over the decades in a mostly Christian-oriented system of values. My first days in radio were in the mid-1960s. I grew up in rural southern Indiana in a Catholic home. But I remember at the radio station where I first worked, there was an unwritten rule that beginning at noon on Good Friday and for the next 3 hours, we played only subdued music and no commercials. While this was going on at countless radio stations around the nation, millions were going to Good Friday services. In many Christian churches, it was called the Tenebrae service. For some, it was only a single 3-hour-long service ending at 3 p.m. on Good Friday. But in many congregations, it was a multi-day affair. In my home church, it was observed for those 3 hours on Good Friday, a traditional remembrance of Jesus' time on the cross. Each Christian holiday has its own special services, varying from religion to religion and congregation to congregation. I needn't do anything more than to say the word Christmas to open the floodgates of memories of songs and hymns and pageants and services, of children and grandparents, trees and wreaths, sermons, the special sounds and smells. Say Easter, and we think of sunrise services, the omnipresent use of candles to show the resurrection, the rebirth of our own religious feelings. After all, in the early days of Christianity, Easter was the major feast. The fulfillment of prophecy was the proof that the prophets were right. But Good Friday is different. The candles are symbols all of us know, but their dousing and not their lighting is what moves us to our full emotions. In my church, the Tenebrae service was geared to make everyone feel abandoned. During the 3 hours starting at noon, the church became increasingly stark. Candles were removed from the sanctuary, the Eucharist taken away, and finally the altar was stripped of all of its cloth and decoration. At the last moment, the priest would go to that one candle that was always in a Catholic church to show that the communion breads were there. He would snuff it out, then walk out and say nothing. I remember as a boy nearly crying when effectively my home church shut down, closed, shut the doors. The little church went out of business, it seemed. I suddenly felt what Mary and the apostles must have felt. Abandoned. After all, they had never really understood Jesus' explanations about his kingdom not being of this world. Some ignored his statements about being here only for a while and then having to go on ahead. Until they saw the light, they must have felt that those 3 years risking their lives meant nothing. The starkness of the Tenebrae service, especially its final seconds when the candle's symbolic light is taken away, is a bitter reenactment of those final moments on Calvary. It's a modern-day portrayal of the moment when the light of the world seemed to also be snuffed out. But the light is not doused forever. The triumphant light of Easter morning and the lighting of millions of candles in Christian churches, often with a single candle lighting all the others and the light fills the church, is one of the most awesome ceremonies in Christianity. The use of light in the Christian religion is one of the most effective teaching tools we have. Through Matthew 4:16 to Luke 1:79 to Ephesians 5:5, all through Isaiah, the light shines for us. We are beckoned to walk toward the light. As immersed in grief and sorrow and shock as we may be at the end of an effective Tenebrae service, we should remember that the people who walk in darkness will see a great light. Just wait. 3 days is not a long time.